Welcome, beautiful buddies and gentlemen, family. As you probably have seen, yesterday's video, I reacted to the breaking Achraf Hakimi news, but I didn't want to say, I didn't want to say too much because I didn't know too much. Then I read about it. Some breaking big reports have dropped, and we're gonna read through all of it. And this has been released, through the police and so on, through L'Equipe and Le Parisien, coming out as reports, and this will give us a clear indication of the Achraf Hakimi situation. As I mentioned in my previous video, as this case was dismissed back in 2023, I think the case will be dismissed once again. The evidence wasn't strong enough last time, and the evidence isn't strong enough this time. But there've come out a lot of reports. I don't know if they were available back then and have just come up again, or they're completely new. Let's go into it. There's a lot of stuff here. The first right here is Hakimi's lawyer to L'Equipe. These demands are incomprehensible and nonsensical in light of the case evidence. The file establishes the complaint lies, particularly through the psychological evaluations conducted on her. So Hakimi's lawyer is saying that she's lying, and there's total evidence of her lying. We remain as calm with Achraf as we were at the start of the proceedings. If these demands were to be allowed, we would obviously pursue all avenues to appeal. Alright, nothing really said there. Let's take a look at the second one. Second one right here. Hakimi's case, December 2023, confrontation does not support the complaint's version. At the time for Hakimi Rape case, which was discovering the contents of the investigation file, it was proved that someone had tried to blackmail him or was conducting reconnaissance to rob him better later. However, it does not include the messages exchanged with Nadia before her arrival at the footballer's place. When she was at the restaurant with her, in the presence of a third person who identified she never wanted to reveal, hence the attempted extortion that will be mentioned by the player's lawyer. It must be his bachelor's pad. I don't think it's his actual place. Nadia adds a little later. Nadia is the friend of the supposed victim. At 1:15 a.m. Just before entering, Amelie writes, "I'm gonna fuck him." 4 minutes later, she meets the footballer for the first time. Totally my time. She sent her friend, "Lol, dirty slut." Her friend replies. A few days later, when the case escalates, the friend will ask the complainant which messages she showed to the cops so I can delete some. This was seen by the cops. She said, which messages she showed to the cops so I can delete now. Already a bit fishy in the situation. The investigation judge will try unsuccessfully to shed light on these highly contradictory accounts. You made 3 statements. At first, you say he touches your breasts, and that you had the discussion about nothing happening. Then that it was when he kissed you a second time, and now it's when he was rubbing against you. Which is the correct version? So the lawyers and the judges have already found gaps and holes in her story, and is always the first thing they're looking out for when it comes to these so-called rape victims. The judge presses, when you say it's very serious, what you're referring to? I don't really remember, Amelie let slip. When questioned about the messages she sent instantly to her friend, like, he's raping me or I can't leave, 2:18 a.m., she insists it was just a figure of speech. It couldn't possibly have been during the events. There wasn't a single moment when I picked up my phone while it was happening. I couldn't bring myself to tell him I wanted to leave. I wanted to act like it wasn't a big deal. I didn't want to come off as a traumatized girl. I didn't know how to leave. That was more like it. But he wasn't holding me back at all. Wait, I don't understand anything. She's saying he wasn't holding me back, and now... And one thing I don't understand with these women, when they talk, when they give their story, when they say this, I wanted to act like it wasn't a big deal. So you're telling me you are a fully grown-ass woman, and you getting raped, and you would think, I wanted to act calm, like it wasn't a big deal. I didn't want to come off as a traumatized girl. Why are these women lying? If you ever got this happen to you, you would die in that place. Because you would die you would, I don't know, anything and try to hit the man with. What, I don't understand. Like, this already makes me feel it's 100% fake. Put any person in that position, they will defend themselves. Nobody gets that and would say, I want to act calm in this situation. Fuck off. Next up. So the woman's story is already, it's not looking as strong as in the beginning. You know, these messages between her and her friends. But there will come more, even more news we got right here. Hakimi case. The police asked to see the complaints phone and come across the aforementioned messages that Amelie had not given them 0:48 a.m. So the police have come across messages they have not shown to the cops, which they should have showed, obviously. Man, I'm possessed, lol. Amelie writes to her friend. The latter advises her to listen to Alabri by Fresh La Puefra, which starts like this. I had no choice but to take this risk and keep the fam safe. Nadia suggests to show up the femme fatale mode, try to get the codes and everything. She urges in the disturbing messages. We're going to rob him. We're street girls. La Kele, the street in Spanish. So now messages coming out. We're gonna take the codes and everything. And we're street girls. We're gonna rob him. At 1:09 a.m., Emily was waiting downstairs at the footballer's residence. Hakimi didn't provide the exact address to the Uber, as celebrities rarely do, to avoid theft attempts. He's gonna come down, he won't give you the codes, Nadia says again. On March 2nd, 2023, he's questioned. She's texting, she tells me she's working, which I respect. We kept kissing, longer kisses with my hand on her lower back. She said the first night, nothing's gonna happen. I respected her stance. I said, okay, we kept kissing, but she was using her phone again. So, this is Hakimi's final stance. They were together. There was no sexual, there wasn't penetration. They were kissing and so on, and then she said, nothing's gonna happen on the first night. Next report. A lot of reports here. On the evening of the events, Hakimi had spent time with a first woman met on the social network Raya. Questioned by the police, she specified that she had spent a short time at his place but left quickly. There was no spark, he didn't try to get to know me, and when he realized nothing sexual would happen between us, the evening was over, she said. After Safia's departure, Hakimi would accept Emily's offer to come to his home in turn. Questioned on Friday evening, PSG declined to comment on the Nanterre prosecutor. Decision refers to its March 2023 statement, where the Captain Club explained that it was providing support to its fullback and trusting in the justice system. So that's Paris Saint-Germain's stance still stays the same as back in 2023 when all of this happened in the beginning. Next up, the account given to the clinical psychologist, the complainant confided and confirms Hakimi's statement. We kissed again. I wanted it to end, but I didn't really make it clear. I wasn't into it, but he didn't know that. After exchanging virtually on Instagram with Achraf Hakimi, Amelie was reportedly confronted with the reality of a physical meeting. She no longer controls what she says. She's used to doing the connection and distance with the other person, the psychologist explains. She realizes that it doesn't suit her and that she wants to leave. The role she had designed to this escaped suddenly shifts from fantasy. What she decided for this meeting clashes with the reality of the other person's desire. The professional emphasizes Mr. Hakimi probably has no insight into Amelie's inner dialogue. What the fuck is Emily's inner dialogue? The two friends via professional psychologist, man. There is nothing called a professional psychologist. This is a professional liar. The two friends via text try to get the codes and everything. She urges in a disturbing message, we're gonna rob him. We're girls from the hood. La España, La Casa de Papel. Alright, let's keep going. The complainant took more than 10 minutes to leave Hakimi's house after sharing a final kiss with the player. The footballer explains that Emily arrived and they quickly kissed. The young woman had applied the plumbing gloss which stings the lips, so they both laughed and headed to the kitchen so he could rinse his mouth. They kissed again there before returning to the couch. Nothing that she wouldn't put down her smartphone. The footballer then pointed out that it was getting late, they had training the next day and told her he was going to bed. He claims nothing happened, that he didn't see the young woman's underwear, and that the big discussion she claims they had never took place. The confrontation organized by the justice system in December 2023 did no further support the complainant's version. Achraf Hakimi maintained that he never touched her chest and only stroked her hair, neck, and a bit of her back. At no point did she get on top of me or me on her. She was on her side. This is what the whole paradox of the 24-year-old woman. She displays herself in a very revealing outfits on her public Instagram accounts, but pleads shyness. Appears to be an experienced woman accustomed to such encounters, but tells investigators he was in a 3-year relationship with the same man and had no other relationships beside him. So we can already see there are gigantic holes. in this woman's story, they're saying she's revealing on Instagram and in her life, but then she wants to say she's a shy girl. And what I will tell you is the women that meet these celebrities, especially over Instagram accounts and all of this, they're there for their own thing. Sometimes maybe they fuck the footballer, sometimes not. But what they're in for is something for themselves. Why is she going to Hakimi and not to, I don't know, some other dude's house? Because Hakimi is famous and has money. She wants to abuse the situation. And she's trying to abuse it in the most biggest situation possible. The messages are saying they wanted to steal codes and stuff. Maybe it was codes to his house so they could rob the house. Maybe codes to some vault or something. And then these rape accusations. And when you put all of this together, it's quite clear that Achraf Hakimi, they're trying to frame him. And it's not going well. It's going disastrously bad. And one thing I hope for is women like this deserve not the same jail time as rape. Obviously, rape is much worse than lying about rape. But they should deserve a severe fine. A severe fine. Because this is absolutely unacceptable after reading all of this. Kylian Mbappe actually came out to talk about Achraf Hakimi and the situation. And I will read this out. Achraf Hakimi is respectful with women, even when drunk. I've never seen him behave inappropriately. Kylian Mbappe speaks out about his former teammate's case. The evening we went to the restaurant, Achraf completely lost it. He was crying. He really wasn't okay. He told me that there had been mutual caresses on inmate parts, but that at no point had he felt a refusal from this young woman. He told me that in the end, they didn't sleep together without telling me why. This is a topic we regularly discuss on which we are very cautious. First of all, we're not savages, and then we've been prepared for this since the start of our careers. Kylian Mbappe, obviously, back in September, October, was in a similar rape accusation situation here in Sweden. And obviously the charges got dropped there as well for, insufficient evidence. And that's usually the biggest issue when it comes to this situation is the evidence. If it happens at a person's house, there's not going to be any cameras. In a lot of situations, there are no bruisings. There are nothing like that to take evidence from. So it's really hard. But after looking at those messages between the supposed victim, messages with her friends, the incoherent stuff in her story, like saying she's a shy girl but dresses up like a whore. I mean, it just tells me she's one of those women. I always want to be careful, all right? Because I know there are plenty of celebrities, Epstein Island stuff, that love to do disgusting stuff like this. But when it comes to Achraf Hakimi's case, I've been following this since 2023. It seems like they're completely trying to frame him. And that's why I will say, free Achraf Hakimi. And free these disgusting reports. And what a coincidence. This is happening 1 month before the Ballon d'Or list. Where Achraf Hakimi is predicted to be at least top 5. Achraf Hakimi, stay strong. In tough times like this, a woman like this deserves jail time. Disgusting. Disgusting behavior. That's been it. I'm in full support of Achraf Hakimi, not because he's a Paris Saint-Germain player, not because he's Arab, not because he's African, not because he's North African, not because he's Muslim, but because he's righteous. The thing he's been accused of, clearly, he hasn't done anything. Yes, he's done stuff. Yes, he kissed her. Yes, he had his hand here and there and there. But this woman is fucking disgusting. That's been from boy PS Gent. Hopefully guys have enjoyed this video. We'll keep updating the Achraf Hakimi case, even though I think this is the last update. I don't think this is strong enough to go to court, especially after the recent evidence that came through. Hopefully she will get in jail. That's something I will make an update video about. That's been from boy PS Gent. Hopefully guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez Paris.